Hello, listeners. My name is Tom O'Brien, and I'd like to ask you a question. What would you do if you were accused of stabbing a man to death over a simple game of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Would you just give up, knowing that you didn't do it? Knowing that asshole James Krelson loves to use items when he plays and he just beat you with items and that skillless sack of shit deserved to die? Well, if you're anything like me, you'd make a podcast about the crime in an attempt to find the real killer, which, by the way, isn't me. This is I Didn't Kill That Asshole, the new podcast from me, Tom O'Brien. This is episode 12, The Smoking Gun. It looks like after several months of investigations, we've got what we need to crack this case wide open and finally exonerate me for this murder. Before I bring out today's guest, I'd like to go back through some old clips to illustrate how hard this process has been for me. I don't know if you knew this, but convincing people you aren't a murderer can be quite difficult. There was Lucy Moran, who was at the house party where the murder took place.
I saw you walk out of the room with a bloody knife.
Lucy, as I said before, I picked up the knife because I was trying to cut some cake, and I needed a knife.
Your teeth were clenched.
I was chewing on a really tough pot roast. Not to mention this important moment in the history of podcasts, my interview with that attractive prime suspect known as Tom O'Brien. Tom, I'm going to start with the most important question. And what's that, Tom? Did you kill that man, Tom? No, I didn't, Tom. And frankly, I'm offended you asked. Oh, well, I'm very sorry, Tom, but I must say that I'm impressed by your conviction. You're damn right, Tom. So, Tom, are you seeing anybody? And who could forget Dave Krelson, the victim's brother, who gave an emotional testimonial? So, after everything you've seen and heard, what do you think about this horrific crime?
It was you. You did it. How could you murder my brother? Why is there a show about this? How can you live with yourself?
That's an interesting take, Dave. But now we can put the past behind us. This podcast is sponsored by Buck Knives, the most dependable knives on the market. They can cut through and stab into anything. Anything. Now that the bills are paid, today's guest has come forward with an actual audio recording of the crime as it took place. Apparently, someone at the house party butt-dialed him accidentally, and the whole crime is on voicemail. I'd like to welcome Stephen Seals to the studio.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tom.
Well, let's not bury the lead, Stephen. Let's go ahead and play that tape.
Yeah, sure.
How can you maim Luigi? Luigi? He's the cheapest one. He just does that little kick, and I die every time.
Dude, it's just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game. Just a game. Don't talk to me about games. I got a game for you right here. It's called Knife, and I'm about to get the highest score.
Tom, come on.
Don't touch me, James. No one touches Tom O'Brien without consequences.
Oh my God, you're stabbing me, Tom O'Brien. Tom O'Brien, stop killing me right now. Tom O'Brien, no!
Very interesting. Apparently, the killer goes by the name of Tom O'Brien.
That's your name.
That's also my name.
Look, can you just say you did it already? Stop doing this podcast and just say you did it.
You're only saying that because you haven't heard the Tom tape.
The Tom tape?
Yes. Here's a little preview. Hey, Mom, I just wanted to let you know that it's July 25th and it's around 10:30 p.m. and I am not at that house party. So if anything bad happens over there, I'm not responsible.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone. Press.
And that's our show for today.
This episode is 3 minutes long.
Get out or I'll kill you!
Whoa, okay.
Until next time, crime fans, remember, I didn't do it. But I'm glad he's dead. Cough, cough. Okay, Druids, quiet now. The spring solstice celebration is almost upon us. I want to thank you all for gathering tonight and bringing with you the bounty that the land has provided for us. Now, before we get to the actual feast, there are some announcements. First up, old Magwynn would like to say a few words.
Now, many of you may know me as that odd loner druid that clambers up on the rocky cliffs overlooking the beach and shakes goats' heads at the moon.
We've all done our share of shouting at the moon, but you're the only one that does it naked.
Now I know I've only got the one good eye, with the other having been taken from me in a vicious goat attack.
Well, you are always antagonizing them. Sooner or later, they do bite back.
And I am missing most of my fingers, but the fingers I do still have are the ones that count when it comes to the ladies. You know what I mean?
You are missing your thumbs. Your hands are mostly just nubs.
Nonetheless, I'm lonely. So if anyone feels like they could be a match for this old broken-down druid, then meet me out on my usual spot on the high cliffs overlooking the sacrifice pit on the beach.
Oh, you get a great view of the sacrifices from up there.
True, and I'll be out there every full moon until the summer solstice, at which point I will toss myself off the cliff to be shorn apart by the rocks below if I haven't obtained a mate.
Well, thank you, Magwynn. Everyone spread the word that he's looking for a mate. Good luck out there. Next up, we have Faralei, who is head of the Youth Outreach Program.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say that we are having a problem with the teenagers eating the ritual mushrooms and then running around on Stonehenge.
We've all done that. Nothing like plucking fresh mushrooms from the goat patties and moon howling. It's a rite of passage.
That's fine and harmless, but lately they've taken to climbing on top of the higher structures. This has loosened some support stones. It's not easy lifting those things back up if they're knocked off.
Oh, good point. So yeah, youths, knock it off. Find another spot to eat mushrooms that doesn't harm sacred sites.
I've got one more thing. On a similar note, last week's orgy around the fire pit got a bit out of hand. We had an incident
Wait. You guys are having orgies?
Hold on, Magwynn. You've had your time to speak. Faralei has the floor right now.
How long have you been having orgies without me? And why haven't I been invited?
No use hiding it now. It's your missing eye. It creeps everyone out.
Mostly, it's the steady stream of pus that's always flowing from the empty socket. Nobody wants that dripping on them when we've got that orgy groove going.
A goat took that eye. It would have eaten my whole face if I hadn't ripped its still beating heart from its body with my bare hands.
As thrilling as that may have been, don't get mad if you're not invited to any of the official orgies. I've missed a few myself.
Oh, I go to them all. I've got to work it while I've still got it.
Well, I've missed them all. I'm part of this community, too.
Look, everyone is just all kinds of grossed out by you. You're always walking around covered in goat's blood, and you wear their testicles around your neck. It's weird, man, even for druids.
Those goats need to know who not to fuck with. They're a menace. They need to see that I'm not to be trifled with.
Fine. You can come to the next orgy.
I won't be coming to any more then.
Me either.
I'll be skipping as well. Just when I was starting to get good at them too.
Oh, yeah, you are getting good.
Fine, keep your orgies. I'm just gonna sit on that beach and let the water take me. Lucky if you see me again.
Well, it looks like that worked itself out.
Pus does make a good lube, though.
Too late, moving on. And you know what? I know we didn't schedule an orgy for tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and call it Orgy Night. First off, I am very excited that you're working on a new The Last of the Mohicans adaptation. I do have some suggestions if you're ready to hear them.
Of course, James. I always welcome the feedback of an accomplished writer.
The canoe chase scene is brilliant.
Thank you.
I feel like it's missing something afterwards, though.
Oh, what would that be?
The present script completely cuts out a major part of the book, the bear disguises.
I know, but I was...
How can you have a Last of the Mohicans adaptation without the bear disguises?
Well, actually, it's already been adapted multiple times without bear disguises.
And that's a travesty! Let me refresh your memory. So we're in the Huron village. Major Haywood's helping a Huron find his crazy wife, and they're being stalked by a bear the whole time. When Haywood's alone, we find out the bear is actually our hero, Hawkeye.
I remember. I just don't think it adds much and is honestly confusing.
Are you kidding? What about the part where Hawkeye fights Magwynn in the bear disguise and ties him to a wall? How could you leave that out? That's literally the cover of one edition of the book.
Frankly, I think it would look silly.
All right, how about the heroic rescue where they convince a Huron that Hawkeye is a magical bear? Roar.
That's even more ridiculous. You know, the whole bear costume thing never made sense to me. How can anyone possibly think he's an actual bear?
You special effects or whatever it is you movie people do. You're the movie expert, not me.
Well, as the movie expert, I have to adapt the story. And that means I will remove and add things from the book version.
If you're adding new things, may I suggest a small change to the final fight? Can they all wear bear costumes? At least the good guys. Imagine this. Bears fighting using guns and clubs and knives. Row.
Okay. Thanks for your feedback. I do have to get going now.
Wait, how about the director wears a bear costume on set to command authority? Row. The audience doesn't even have to know.
I'll take it under consideration. Have a nice day, Mr. Fennimore Cooper.
I bet Stephanie Meyer didn't have these problems. Row.
Maximum.
You wanted to see me, boss?
Yes, Kyle. Please come into my office. We have some challenges to iron out this morning.
Well, Kyle is always up for a challenge, ma'am. You know what I'm saying?
That's good, because these drafts you've submitted for the Women's History Month ad campaign are very problematic.
Really? What's wrong with them?
Oh, where to begin? Kyle, do you know why Women's History Month is important to our company?
What I heard was that some chick posted a list of companies on social media. It's gone viral, and Maximum Colognes for Men is at the top of that list.
Well, yes, we are at the top of that list, but...
Woohoo!
But that list is ranking toxic companies that subjugate women.
Oh, shit. So we're being canceled?
Exactly. Look, I realize that you lean into Maximum Cologne's dude bro culture and messaging more than anyone else.
Fucking A, ma'am. Ride or die.
I'll be honest with you, Kyle. I think you're a terrible fit for this campaign, but you're Maximum's most senior admin on staff, and the CEO wanted to give you a shot.
Awesome. I've got great ideas.
Well, I have my doubts about that. Let's start with your ad featuring Marie Curie. You proposed that we show this pioneer of chemistry and physics, and I quote, running so fast from the past to the future that all of her clothes fly off and she arrives in the present sweaty and naked. Walk me through how your brain did this.
Okay, sure. So you know how Marie Curie invented radiation, right?
Well, no, she didn't invent radiation.
When I think of radiation, I think of radioactive. So I thought to myself, Kyle, this chick must have been really active. So she runs away with radioactive superpowers like Spider-Man, you know? And bam, time travel.
Okay. But why does she end up naked?
It's because clothes are oppressive. And, the Terminator was naked after time traveling. It's an established time travel law, Dana. Bam.
Uh-huh. Well, let's look at this next pitch of yours. You start out with this very nice quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. Life was meant to be lived, and curiosity must be kept alive. I love that.
Yep. Googled important chicks in history, and she came up a lot. And just between you and me, she is not easy to look at. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that opinion explains why you have her inexplicably, and again I'm quoting here, tearing off her skin like in Scooby-Doo, revealing a straight-up smoke show wearing a teddy who looks at the camera and says, I am very curious. Then you have her growling for an uncomfortable length of time.
Shit. Sorry about that. I thought she was Teddy Roosevelt's wife. My bad. I guess the Teddy stuff doesn't make sense now. You know what I'm saying?
And then in your last spot, you propose Eleanor Roosevelt and Marie Curie, who has inexplicably jumped naked from the other commercial, both wrestle in mud.
Oh, yeah. See, the mud is like oppression, right? And they're both fighting their way free.
From the mud.
Yes.
That stands for oppression?
Yep.
Well, they're naked.
Bingo. Also, I read Eleanor was probably lesbian, so I thought that would be super hot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Kyle, I am pulling you off of the Women's History Campaign and putting you on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, thank God. You have no idea how relieved I am to hear that, dude. It is impossible to offend the Irish. Listen to this pitch. There's this Catholic priest, right? And this leprechaun is dressed like a choir boy, and they just start...
Kyle, you're fired.
No, wait. I was just going to say that they just start fucking.
Get out!
Oh, the end, dude.
Maximum.
People of the court, please rise for the Honorable Judge Johnny J. Trumbull. Ocean Court is now in streaming.
Thank you, Bailiff Bob. And I want to thank everyone here that has agreed to abide by my judgments. We're streaming live all over the world from my yacht, the Dynamo, out on international waters. It's my laws out here, baby. Like and subscribe, people. Now, let's get started. Bailiff Bob, what's the first case you got for me?
Your Honor, the first case is Carter versus Shepard. Mr. Carter claims that while he was out, Ms. Shepard, his roommate, opened his mint condition atomic purple Game Boy Color without his consent.
Well, this sounds like some serious business. You don't mess around with someone's collectibles. Mr. Carter, are you certain that it was Miss Shepard that so wantonly vandalized your property?
Yes! I got home and she was laying half naked on the living room floor in a pool of her own puke. The Game Boy is still in her hand.
Miss Shepard, what do you have to say about these accusations?
Your Honor, I was sick and the internet wasn't even working. Like, I couldn't get on WebMD to see if I had the COVID, so I had to open it to see what Dr. Mario could do.
Well, that sounds reasonable enough to me. She was in desperate need of medical attention.
It was late at night, and I needed a doctor immediately, and he was just, like, sitting there right on the shelf.
Mr. Carter, are you really so cold and uncaring when it comes to the welfare of your fellow humans?
Dr. Mario isn't a real doctor. It's a game, Your Honor. All you do is flip little colored pills around.
Traditional medicine may not be enough for today's superbugs. We shouldn't discount him because he's got unconventional methods.
You don't mess around with the COVID. I heard they put that breathing tube thingy up your butt.
And not in a good way. You're not making a good case for yourself here, Mr. Carter.
Why did she have to open my stuff, though? It's not my fault there wasn't a doctor available.
Just admitting your guilt now? Dr. Mario was clearly the only one available. I rule in favor of the defendant due to her medical emergency. Bailiff Bob, get this cold-hearted man out of my courtroom.
She still owes me for 3 months back rent.
Jury, how do you feel about how this was handled? Very good. What do you have for me next, Bailiff Bob?
Up next, we have Howard versus Johnson. Mr. Howard said he was catfished by Mr. Johnson on a dating site and was coaxed into sending him a total of $82,052.23 in Red Lobster gift cards.
That's a lot of shrimp scampi. I'm hungry now, Bailiff Bob. Call in an order for us after the show and get yourself a double order of cheddar biscuits.
Can do, sir.
Your Honor, he presented himself as a beautiful woman and continued with a charade to get me to send him money. Here's the picture he put on his profile.
That's Scarlett Johansson. You really thought that's who you were talking to?
Your Honor, he was very convincing.
If I may, Your Honor, in my defense, I just want to say that I couldn't believe he was buying it either. She's like one of the most recognizable women in the world.
Dumbass.
I don't know if I even need to hear anymore. It's obviously Scarlett Johansson, and you should be ashamed of yourself for thinking you had any kind of chance there.
What? I've been busy the past few years taking care of my sick mother. I haven't seen any movies lately, but Your Honor, he scammed my entire life savings from me. I'm losing my house. Me and my mom are gonna have to live on the street.
Enough! My judgment is for the defendant on grounds of stupidity. Bailiff Bob, get this wannabe pickup artist out of my courtroom.
I just lost my job, too.
Don't go falling in love with an octopus that looks like Brie Larson. All right, we have time for one more. Bailiff Bob, who do you have for me?
Next on the docket is Bailey versus Edward. Mr. Bailey claims that his neighbor, Mr. Edward, is a demon and cursed all the lights in his kitchen. He wishes to be compensated for the exorcism costs.
That's a very serious accusation. Exorcisms aren't cheap. Mr. Bailey, what makes you think Mr. Edward is a demon?
Well, Your Honor, he was over at my house one night. We were drinking, and he puts a quarter down on the table and turns over an empty glass on top of it and says, I can get this quarter out of here without touching the glass.
So what happened?
Well, he somehow got the quarter out and flashed it in front of me with a big smile on his face.
Fucking hell.
I know. I kicked him right out, and I told him this was no place for his filthy demon magic. Then the next day, the lights in my kitchen started flickering. I'm sure it was some residual magic he left behind.
Wow. That is an incredible story. I also don't take too kindly to the dark arts in my courtroom.
Your Honor, it was just a bar trick. Sleight of hand stuff. And that light in his kitchen, it's always been flickering. I've been telling him he needs to call an electrician for like years.
Keep that demon tongue to yourself. I side for the plaintiff. Bailiff Bob, get this man out of my courtroom before he turns all my wine into natty light. He can do his demon stuff with the cuttlefish.
Get out of here, you pervert devil.
Wow. That was a close call. I genuinely feared for my life there.
I'm glad that's over with. I wasn't about to get mixed up in no demon shit. Again.
I guess that's the show for today. I want to thank everyone at home for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe on our socials and join me on next week's stream of Ocean Court. Good night.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Cold Sound Theater podcast. We enjoy making internationally renowned sketch comedy for you. Please show us some love by following us on our social media, Twitter at Cold Sound Pod, Instagram at Cold Sound Podcast. We'll be your best friend.